So yes, they're handicapped. So I will not laugh at them or with them.
It's a very strange example. I mean, it's not an example because there's never been anything quite like it, but Trump has more in common with David Brent than he has JFK. You know, he's a man who wants to be loved, who wants to be famous. You know, he was the host of The Apprentice. Yeah. You know, and he's clearly more ruthless than David Brent, and I think that's the difference.
That's a big difference.
It's just harder. It's harder to have sympathy with him, I think.
Nobody's safe when Ricky Gervais grabs the mic, especially not Donald Trump. With a smirk and a drink, he unleashed a brutal roast that scorched harder than a Florida summer at Mar-a-Lago. The crowd roared, the internet lit up, and Ricky sealed another iconic moment in comedy history.
What's happened is, when you've had privilege so long, equality feels like oppression. They're basically saying, some people want some of our equality.
Yes.
Well, of course they do.
Yes.
That's it.
Damn them, damn their eyes. And one of them ended up president. That's the ultimate offence.
I'm nearly numb to it now. I didn't even bother commenting on that tweet the other day where he said, if I had, even if that terrible shooting, I'd probably have gone in there even if I didn't have a weapon. That's what a 10-year-old says. I could beat up a lion. I could fight a lion if I had to.
It's funny because when I first heard Trump was running, I thought it was a bit of a joke, but now it's getting serious. So I don't know whether to laugh or not, and I don't know whether I want him to get in just to see what happens or to nip it in the bud. But it's fascinating from an outsider's point of view. That it's about fame again. He's going to get in because he's famous, in a way. You know, he's playing that card, and this film's about that. My wife plays that character who thinks the world owes her a living, who wants all these things just because she wants them. You know, and we're meant to, you know, it's odd. It's odd that you've got a future president bragging about how rich.
The moment Ricky hit the stage, the energy snapped. This wasn't your usual polite applause for some billionaire or politician playing it safe. This was the kind of tension that builds up when someone's about to speak raw, undefined truth. He smirked, said it all. No pandering, no sugarcoating, and absolutely no passes for a certain former president.
Eva Longoria and America Ferrera aren't just beautiful, talented actresses. They're also two people who your future president, Donald Trump, can't wait to deport.
Ricky turned calling out hypocrisy into a sport, craving through celebrity nonsense like a master chef filleting a fish. Nobody was spared. Not actors crying about climate changes before boarding private jets, and definitely not politicians preaching about the working class from their golden towers.
You have a reality star who's running for president. You have a plan for Donald Trump, though, what America should do.
Well, first of all, I can't get enough of him. I started off thinking it was quite funny, and then it got a bit serious. And now I don't know whether to want him to get in for the fun of it or not. Yeah. I mean, I can say that I don't live here, so sorry about that, but I think it would be... But I love him. I just want to see a channel 24/7, just him talking, because it's amazing.
Amazing.
I love it. He doesn't mean to be funny. That's the beauty of it. But I think, what if we just told him he got in?
Okay.
And...
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So he gets up every day, right, and he does a little address, and we go, yeah, it's brilliant, I'm the president, and they're...
When Ricky locked onto the topic, everyone anticipated, the room lit up. It wasn't if he'd go after Trump, but how hard he'd hit. With endless material and his signature deadpan delivery, the crowd knew it could be legendary, just like his Golden Globes takedowns.
I am woke now, and I can prove it. Here you go. I love illegal immigrants. Yeah, sue me now. Sometimes I go down to Dover for the day, right, and I look out, right, and look for a boat, and I see a dinghy with about 60 of them, and I go over here like that, right? And I pull them into shore, and I go, women and children first. They go, there are no women and children. Just you lads, is it? Just, come on, lads. Come on, lads.
Ricky took aim at the biggest, most tantrum-prone target yet, Trump. An attention addict obsessed with loyalty and allergic to criticism was about to get roasted. No warm-up, no mercy, just sarcasm, receipts, and pure precision. It was political comedy Christmas, and Ricky unwrapped every punchline with a grin.
Does that not tell you everything you need to know about Donald Trump?
Oh. I wasn't political till about 6 months ago. I wasn't interested in politics.
Really?
But now I'm just fascinated. Let's not talk about him, though.
That's fine. Let's talk about you. You're more interesting.
I'm not. It's just...
Ricky could have done a whole show on Trump's failed businesses. The material wrote itself. Steaks, airlines, and a fake university, all branded disasters. Yet Trump still started like a business genius surrounded by yes men. Ricky didn't just have to try. One jab, how do you go bankrupt running a casino, and the crowd exploded. While others tiptoed around Trump, Ricky ran straight through the fire. No fear, no filter, and that's what stung the most. Ricky was everything Trump wanted to be, untouchable and brutally honest.
Crazy right now in the States. It's so divided. Have you seen that reflected in the audiences that you perform in front of?
No, I haven't. But I don't get very political. Certainly not party political. I do it implicitly. I talk about stupidity, misunderstanding, arrogance, lies, all these things that are part of.
Trump spent years chasing Hollywood's approval, only to be roasted by one of its sharpest comedians. It was like begging to get into a party and just to be laughed at and shut out. The crowd howled, viewers were glued, and somewhere Trump was probably rage tweeting. Ricky didn't just roast him, he slow cooked him, severed with sarcasm and zero effort. Every joke hit like a knockout, and the laughter said it all. Trump lost the second Ricky opens his mouth.
4 months ago,
Yeah.
and now it's the only thing I talk about. I get up in the morning and I can't wait for him to get up and tweet.
Well,
I cannot wait.
same
It's my
here.
it's amazing.
It's just what's he gonna say? Which is mental. It's like we've got a celebrity running the biggest country in the world.
It's-
but say no more.
It's a
say no
president,
more.
a president getting into the Twitter wars with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's
Crazy.
bizarre. It's off the scale. Think of that a few years ago. I mean, it's unimaginable. But I still try and keep the politics out of funny.
Ricky made roasting Trump look effortless, just a sip and a savage line. The scandals, lawsuit, and ego gave him endless material. Trump's wealth, tax dodging, and need for attention made him a walking punchline. He even picked a fight with a hurricane. One of the best hits, Ricky used Trump's own words against him. No exaggeration needed, just repeat the contradictions and let the absurdity speak for itself.
This week, he is fighting a prisoner of war with brain cancer and a war widow who's 6 months pregnant. That's the president fighting these people.
On Twitter. Yeah.
That's amazing.
No, it's
Think of it.
yeah, sometimes you sit back and
The moment Ricky dropped the killer one-liner, the crowd erupted, and Trump had no comeback. He mocked Trump's obsession with winning and desperate need for Hollywood's approval and hit hard. While Ricky shrugged and moved on, Trump fumed, pretending no one laughed, but everyone did. Truth Social lit up with the usual meltdown, proving once again Trump can dish it out, but the second it's aimed at him, he crumbles.
I'm thinking, if you were to host, say, the National Film Awards, and you had to introduce Donald Trump on stage, for example, what would you say?
Oh,
What would be your
you've
introduction?
really brought the tone down.
What would be your introduction?
Oh, God. It's an odd one, that, isn't it?
That could be the introduction.
Yeah,
That's
it
it.
is- it is
That
an odd
is it.
one.
That's what you got to say. That could be the introduction.
Oh my God! I don't know what I do in that position. I mean, I think I'd have to seize the day.
And
Again, I couldn't go, please welcome the President of the United States.
nah, it's not
so
normal.
I think I'd have to go for it. But then again,
The best part? Ricky didn't even respond. He didn't need to. Trump's meltdown proved the joke hit home. The internet lit up with memes, late night hosts replayed the burns, and celebrities piled on. Social media became a comedy war zone, and Trump was the only one not laughing. In an age of spin, satire hits harder than ever. Ricky's roast worked because it wasn't just funny, it was true. He had nothing to lose, no agenda, just the freedom to say what everyone's thinking. And when the whole room laughs and nods, that's truth hitting its mark.
I think he's got that childlike narcissism that he sort of, if he says it, it sort of might be true. But
Yeah.
I think there's a bit of troll about him.
And there's no one in his life to tell him that he's being a wazzock.
He's never had to
does that?
do or achieve anything in his life. You
No,
know, this is a man who's, you know, people fell for him because he was a good businessman. Well, actually,
Supposedly.
someone looked at it, right, and they worked out that if he'd have just put his acquired, inherited wealth on the top 50 stocks, he'd be $6 billion richer than he is. So he's effectively lost money over his...
Trump wants celebrity status but can't handle the spotlight. He keeps picking fights with comedians who are built to shred egos, and he always loses. You can spin facts, but there's no defense when the room's laughing at you. He can't resist jumping in even when he's already losing. The only question is how badly he'll fumble the response, maybe with a rant about woke Hollywood elites, missing that Ricky roasts everyone, not just him.
Politics till the last sort of couple of years, and now I can't wait for him to wake up and tweet.
George Conway obliterated Trump live on air with calm precision, dismantling his lies and lawsuits without raising his voice. Trump, expecting the usual, left looking like a broken wind-up toy, unable to adjust before Conway's surgical takedown.
I was offered the job of head of the civil division of the Department of Justice, and I filled out all the forms. They ran my background check, and I was interviewing people who were going to work underneath me. I was sort of far along there, and then I just started having this queasy feeling like I don't really want to work in this administration, because of what I saw.
George Conway, a legal powerhouse, delivered a verbal smackdown so sharp it left Trump embarrassed. A Supreme Court winner in Morrison versus National Australia Bank, Conway was even considered for the top DOJ roles. And as Kellyanne Conway's husband, he truly keeps his enemies close.
So here's the rub. He doesn't think there's anybody else in the world other than him.
Right.
Because he is the world's ultimate narcissist. So in his universe, he is the only person, and he is certainly the only person that matters. We don't really exist. We are just sort of objects.
On the broadcast, Conway dives into Trump's failures, highlighting his talent for turning golden opportunities into disappointments. It's as if Trump has reversed Midas touch, turning everything into material for late-night comedy sketch.
I think everybody overthinks this guy. There's no strategy. There is no thought. And the brand is just him. He lives in this world where there's just him. Okay?
But it's not just him, George. It's a hell of a lot of people out there who've gotten sucked up into this thing and that are perpetuating
I agree with
that brand.
I'm talking about in his mind.
Okay.
None of us matter. Those people don't matter. They're not real people. He doesn't care what happens to them. If they show him adulation and they do what his bidding, that's good. If they don't do his bidding, he will destroy them. He will discard them. None of us, in his mind, okay, he's someone as a man with no empathy, a man with no conscience.
Conway highlights Trump's business ventures as reality TV disasters, from failing casinos to a disappointing university. His business history is a how not to guide with stakes vodka and airlines that crashed and burned.
Therefore, he can violate no laws because he is the law. He interprets the law. And not only that, according to Napoleon, apparently that is allegedly a quote from Napoleon, translated from the French, which obviously he does not speak. He is saving the country, and therefore, from Sleepy Joe, who was out there just running amok over everything because he was so energetic, and he is saving the country, therefore he can violate no laws, which is convenient because he is the one who gets to decide whether he's violating any laws. So he's already decided it. We don't need a legal system. We don't need a constitution. It's done. Life is very easy in the world.
Conway critiques Trump's political mishaps, likening his leadership to a bull in China shop. Trump's foreign policy, full of grand promises but shaky foundations, and his friendship with the dictators alienated allies and turned the geopolitical stage into a chaotic, unsettling soap opera.
You don't want to diagnose him, but I think if you look at the diagnostic criteria for narcissistic personality disorder and antisocial personality disorder, he fits every single one of them. It's like the criteria were made to describe him. And I think what we saw with this tweet yesterday is that last final collapse of Donald Trump's mental state. I mean, you think about it, those were like 50, 60, 70,000 people in the aggregate in five rallies in different states. That's loopier than saying that the moon landings were staged, because there were tens of thousands of people were there. To think that is crazy, and to try to sell it to people is just as crazy. He's done. His brain is fried.
Conway critiques Trump's estranged relationship with the truth, pointing out how his speeches and tweets often sent fact-checkers into overdrive. When addressing Trump's handling of COVID-19, Conway highlights his focus on politics over results, with dangerous suggestions like the disinfectant comments. He also takes aim at Trump's post-presidency antics, depicting him as a reality star clinging to relevance, more concerned with legacy than democratic policies.
Lying, intimidating, bullying, that's Donald Trump at his worst, and that's Donald Trump always. And he's always going to find the one thing that he can do if there's a list of things that he cannot do and that he doesn't think he can get away with. And he has no complaint.
Conway's takedown is laced with sardonic amusement, highlighting Trump's arrogance and incompetence with precise, litigator-like language. His commentary leaves the public reflecting on Trump's bizarre saga, full of contradictions and controversy, urging viewers to consider the consequences of blending reality with reality TV.
That it will stop him or deter him? Is there any reason why this would impact him actually running?
No.
So legally, no.
Legally, no. I mean, he can run. He could be incarcerated, and he could still run for president. And if he were elected, I think the better legal argument under the Constitution, under Article 1, would be that they'd have to spring him. But I don't think he's going to get elected. But I do think he is going to run. I think he's going to make a big issue out of his legal troubles to say that he is persecuted. He's going to say they're persecuting me. He's already said it because they want to persecute you. And he's going to say, and if the violence erupts, he's going to say, it wasn't my fault.
As the broadcast ends, Trump, likely at Mar-a-Lago, fumes, drafting a tweet about a takedown he never saw coming. George Conway, an Ivy League-educated conservative lawyer married to Kellyanne, should have been a perfect hit for Trump's camp, but instead, he became Trump's worst nightmare. A brilliant, no-nonsense legal mind, Conway tore through Trump's defense. While Trump focused on insults, Conway stacked legal wins, earning a reputation as one of the sharpest conservative minds.
And help himself but emotionally react to things. But one of the things that he's a narcissistic sociopath. That's the thing everyone has to kind of get used to. It's the reason why you cannot normalize him. You cannot treat him like a normal human being because
Trump thought he had a loyal ally in George Conway back in 2017, even considering him for roles in Department of Justice. But by 2018, Conway had had enough of Trump's chaos. While Kellyanne defended him on TV, George took to Twitter and op-eds using his legal expertise to tear down Trump's administration. Then came the Lincoln Project, co-founded by Conway to sabotage Trump's re-election with relentless strategic attacks that drove Trump mad.
What we're seeing now is, as you put it, an implosion. And this, I believe, is what ultimately was always going to happen, the final implosion of Donald Trump. I mean, it's like Hitler, when Hitler was moving around divisions that didn't exist in the last 10 days of the war in the Führer bunker. I mean, he has completely lost it. This post is beyond question delusional, but it was also inevitable, because what's happening here is he realizes he's under more pressure than ever, because he's not just running for the presidency, he's running for his freedom. He's going to go to jail if he does not win the presidency. And he can see that now. And that's why he's doubling down on the unreality. It's partly for self-soothing. Partly it's just because he can't help it. He's a pathological liar, being a sociopath. And what we're watching is I mean, we're going to make fun of it because it helps provoke him into self-destruction, which is what the country needs. But it's actually very...
Picture Trump watching Lincoln Project ads, exposing his failures, realizing the mastermind is George Conway, married to one of his closest aides. Conway didn't back down. Using his deep understanding of Trump's narcissism to dismantle the myth of his success, he calmly highlighted Trump's bankruptcies and legal troubles, letting Trump actions speak for themselves. And all of this while married to Kellyanne, living in a political soap opera that became a national metaphor for Trump era.
The White House counsel who handled, in the Trump administration, handled the Mueller investigation, went basically on a national television the other day and said, Trump's going to go to jail for this. And he should and he will, because the obstruction case is just so strong.
You think so? Do you agree with George Conway?
What an irrelevant guy. I mean, I don't even want to address him. I don't see what the basis for his knowledge is. He's just a fluff. You know, he's somebody that goes on Twitter and just talks a lot, but has...
George Conway's live TV takedown of Trump was a public betrayal that hit harder than any political rival's critique. As a conservative, Conway's attacks on Trump dismantling of law and order was personal. Trump responded with childish social media rants and insults, but Conway remained calm and relentless, dismantling Trump's illusions with every sharp remark.
Definitive, if there was any question about the Republican Party, what it is and what it means at this moment.
It's a cult. I mean, that's the only way you can describe it. And everyone has, it consists of basically two groups of people, mostly. Some people who have basically completely lost it, you know, the people we see in the House of Representatives. And then there are people who are basically...
Conway doesn't have to search hard for Trump's disasters. They're everywhere. First, there's the hush money scandal, where Trump tried to cover up payments to silence adult film stars only to make things worse. Conway highlights how a real leader handles situations like Charlottesville, unlike Trump's vague response to white supremacists. Then the Mueller investigation, where Trump's obstruction turned a crisis into a constitutional nightmare.
I want to go through another, I'll call it interesting, political story with you. There's an online video from a group whose members include George Conway.
Trump built his empire by burning bridges. Michael Cohen, his former fixer, was thrown under the bus and quickly flipped, exposing Trump's shady deals. Loyalty was demanded but never returned. John Bolton, once hailed as a strongman, was ousted and publicly thrashed when he didn't back Trump's foreign policy. Bolton responded with a best-selling book revealing the chaos behind the scenes.
He's right. You're dealing with somebody who's lying constantly. You can't spend all your time fact-checking. What do you do about a scenario like this?
Well, look, I think in 2016, that was a challenge because, again, as I said previously, we had never run against a candidate like Donald Trump before. And so we were spending a lot of time trying to, fact check him and making sure reporters knew that he told 75 lies per speech and then trying to push back on those lies.
The pattern is clear. Rex Tillerson, Jeff Sessions, Omarosa, and Bill Barr all fell out with Trump after being discarded for not following his whims. Kellyanne Conway, once a loyal defender, lost her husband's support as George Conway watched Trump violate legal norms and disgrace the Constitution. Trump didn't just lose Conway's backing, he gave him a platform to speak out.
And Donald Trump doesn't care about any of that. He only cares about whether a particular crisis can be used to manipulate manipulate the public. And that's why he's willing.
Conway's call-out highlights Trump's self-destructive behavior. He had the chance to surround himself with capable people, but chose enablers, turning anyone with integrity into an enemy. Instead of just alienating people, he gave them the ammunition to bring him down. Each time, he reacts the same, flailing, attacking, and digging deeper. Conway didn't create his scandals. He simply reflected them, and Trump predictably destroyed the mirror. Trump's legacy is one of discarded allies, each leaving with increasingly damaging stories. Conway just pieced it all together and made into a self-disaster.
Their father was not there to cheer his sons on. Donald Trump not showing up to watch his kids testify in a fraud trial is the Trump family version of not showing up for their school play. Don Jr. went first today and took a page from Dad's book of gripes.
Before even having a day in court, I'm apparently guilty of fraud for relying on my accountant to do, wait for it, accounting.
Here's the thing. Never wait for anyone who says, wait for it. Just leave immediately. Just go, wait for it. No, I'm not waiting for it. And go.
Trump is a walking joke, always setting himself up for failure. Stewart didn't have to look far. Trump provided all the material. Each time Trump doubles down or lies or throws a tantrum, he tightens the noose. Stewart's takedowns exposes Trump's inflated ego, showing that the emperor isn't just naked, he's streaking.
Amazing night in Miami with my father. Just electric. The MAGA movement is alive with my father. The reception we received with my father. Dana White said it was the most incredible cheer with my father of someone walking into the arena in his history of doing it. An insanely awesome evening with my father.
He's gonna.
Jimmy Kimmel's smirk says it all. Trump and his family are a goldmine of punchlines. Kimmel effortlessly turns their blunders into primetime comedy. Trump whines, Don Jr. fumbles like a glitchy AI, and Eric just exists.
And what is your job exactly? I mean, seriously, besides yelling at your laptop, what is it that you do for a living? What do you write on your tax return, son? Donald Trump Jr. is the only guy in America who claims himself as a dependent. Fox News.
Give me a personal read, if you don't mind, Eric, what you want the audience to understand about how your father processed what happened to him and what he communicated to your kids about what they saw and how it affected him.
Yeah, well, he called me from the hospital. I think that was the first phone call that he made, and obviously let me know he was okay. And it was a kick to the stomach, just to say the least. When you're seeing that, I mean, Chris, you didn't know. Obviously, you saw blood coming out of his face, but you heard multiple shots. You didn't know if he took shots to the torso. You didn't know where else he was hit. You didn't know if any of those agents.
Kimmel's on fire, roasting the Trump sons. They've inherited their father's confidence, but not his finesse. First up is Don Jr., the self-proclaimed political philosopher of Instagram, whose shaky videos make him look like either jet-lagged or like he lost a battle with a Red Bull can.
The day Donald Trump's sons took the stand in the $250 million fraud case against their family business today. There they are, the Stinklevoss twins, rolling into the courthouse. Looking pretty cool. I haven't seen a more likable set of brothers on trial since the Menendez boys. I don't know about you. It's quite a day, and say what you want about these guys. The camera loves.
Kimmel mocks Don Jr. for trying to sound tough online, using buzzwords like rhinos and woke, but coming off like a guy returning a used mattress. Then there's Eric, sweet, bewildered Eric, with the charisma of a breadstick and the IQ of a decorative pillow. Just saying his name cracks up the audience.
Got a call, your father's been shot. I saw the picture, the sort of defiant, fist pump, after 5 seconds after getting shot. And, I guess we live in an era where everyone sort of thinks they're a badass because they're on the internet and not really up front. But he just got shot and he comes out, sort of defiant, ready to fight for our country. And I just said, hey, you're the biggest badass I've ever met. And I probably could not have been legitimately more proud ever, as a son, to have that kind of approach. Because, again, everyone thinks they're going to act that way.
A clip of Eric defending his father is pure gold, stumbling over sentences like an obstacle course. Kimmel quips it's like watching a golden retriever explain the stock market, sending the audience into laughter. Kimmel then rolls out, Trump's kids say the dumbest things, showing Eric and Don Jr. botching history and geography. If you asked Eric to name 3 states, he'd say America, Texas, and Florida, Kimmel jokes, and the crowd erupts.
On the other side of humanity's coin, we have Donald Trump Jr., who was in court again this morning. There he is. You hear the protesters chanting, crime family, and that is basically what these people are, a crime family, a very dumb crime family, the Gambozos, if you will. And Don Jr., he's so embarrassing. He's on the stand, he's testifying in this $250 million fraud trial, and he has to compliment, he said his father is an artist.
In Florida, Trump fumes, ranting about failing Jimmy Kimmel and rigged ratings, but it's too late. His sons have been steamrolled on national TV. Don Jr. rants on Twitter, misspelling loser, while Eric's still confused by the golden retriever joke. Meanwhile, Kimmel mocks Don Jr.'s social media disaster, joking he has the energy of a guy at a party explaining Bitcoin. The crowd erupts as Kimmel quips, I don't know what's worse, his misunderstanding of the Constitution or his appearance after running up 4 flights of stairs.
Supposed to rely on a big 5 accounting firm, like one of the biggest accounting firms in the world. I can pay them millions of dollars. I rely on them to do accounting, but I'm supposed to know more than them. By this logic, insurance companies are going to start suing patients for listening to their doctors. Right? Do you understand? Like, am I supposed to know more? Oh, Don Jr. doesn't know anything about it. I'm not an accountant. I'm a business guy.
I'm a business guy who had his elbows soldered together, and now.
Kimmel mocks Eric, the human buffering symbol, playing a montage of his botched interviews and joking, "I didn't realize Christianity was on life support until Dr. Donald swooped in with a prescription for more hotels." The audience roars as Kimmel zooms in on Eric's glazed over face. Kimmel then shows a Fox clip of the Trump brothers defending their father. Don Jr. speaks rapidly while Eric chimes in with nonsense. Kimmel quips, "Blink twice if you need help," and the crowd erupts. He mocks their failed venture, saying, "Imagine failing at selling alcohol to Americans. That's like opening a water stand in the desert and going bankrupt."
Another sniveling MAGA turd who has a weird twist on our president's name is Don Jr.
Check this out. Joe Biden, 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 secretly flying. Joe Biden, 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 Joe Biden has dementia.
That's right. He's the one with the dementia. That's right. It's like he got bitten by a radioactive morning zoo or something. Joe Biden.
The final blow comes when Kimmel highlights Don Jr.'s tweet. "My father is the greatest man to ever live." Kimmel deadpans, "Somebody get this guy a therapy coupon," then whispers, "Don, he's not gonna hug you." The crowd erupts. Eric and Don Jr. likely don't grasp half of the insults, while Trump smashes his phone, frustrated by their failure to win. In Mar-a-Lago, a TV remote flies as Trump watches, furious at his sons being roasted on national TV.
I asked, well, most importantly, like, how's the hair? And he goes, "The hair's fine, Don, the hair's fine. There's a lot of blood."
Truth Social explodes at 2:37 a.m. with Trump's rage. Failing Jimmy Kimmel, not funny. Total disgrace, nobody watches, sad. 10 minutes later, another post. Late night losers used to respect their presidents, even Obama. The caps lock is stuck as he claims, "My sons are brilliant businessmen, despite their biggest achievement being not getting lost in a revolving door." Don Jr. posts a jittery video, ranting about Hollywood elites and woke late night hosts, but the internet compares him to a used car salesman on his last shift.
Kibble, not funny. He is a total disgrace. Nobody watches. Sad. 10 minutes later, another one. Late night losers used to respect their presidents, even Obama. He's spiraling. The caps lock is glued in place. "My sons are brilliant, talented, and very successful businessmen." This one's particularly bold, considering Don Jr. and Eric's greatest accomplishment so far is not getting lost inside a revolving door. Don Jr. leaps into damage control, but it goes as well as expected. He records a jittery, low-light video, huffing and puffing about Hollywood elites and woke late-night hosts who just don't get hardworking Americans. He's speaking so fast, he forgets to blink. He claims he's the real victim here, the son of a great man, unfairly targeted by leftist propaganda. But instead of sympathy, the internet just starts comparing him to a used car salesman on his last warning shift.
The whole show is talking bad about Trump.
He called us doofuses when we had you on.
He's a group of doofuses in flat-brimmed hats.
Guess what? We
Ask him how many.
what he did.
Ask him. Yeah, you do bigger. Yeah, you do.
Eric tweets, "Jimmy Kimmel is a sad, sad man. Very weak. He should be ashamed, but misspells Kimmel as Kimball." Moments later, Jager Kimball roasts Eric, trends, mocking him for fighting with an imaginary host. Even MAGA loyalists struggle to defend him. By sunrise, the damage is done. Trump's rage posting, Don Jr. is sweating, and Eric's confused by the spell check. Meanwhile, Kimmel gains, knowing the Trump family always takes the bait. Twitter erupts, hashtag Trump's kids roasted, trends before Don Jr. can react.
For my wife, and I was worried, what's this about? And the text said, "Donald Trump just attacked you at a rally." And then I said, well, what did he say? But the guy with the satellite phone lost the phone. He left the phone at one of our campsites. So that was all I knew, is that I was attacked. So I get home and I immediately...
Don Jr. posts a shaky, rage-filled video from a storage closet ranting about elites. The internet mocks him, asking, which one looks more elite? Kimmel retweets a meme of Eric in Finding Nemo with the caption, "Just keep stuttering, it's over." While Trump fumes, satire exposes their absurdities. Don Jr. scrambles, knowing the jokes hit home. Comedy dismantles misinformation in ways news outlets can't. Kimmel doesn't need a monologue, just clips from Trump's university, Trump steaks, and Trump vodka to ask, "Tell me again about that business genius."
Okay, we know how proud you are of your sons, Eric and Don Jr., always, number one in business with you. But there is some controversy now because of their hobby. The photo that was posted online, TMZ. What do you make of this, and are you supporting them in it?
Well, they love hunting, and they've always loved hunting. I don't, but they've always loved hunting. They're hunters, and they're expert hunters. And I know they've given the meat and whatever they've hunted to the local tribes and all. But I've never been a fan, and I haven't actually seen anything, but I've never been a fan of it, no.
The Trumps always take the bait. They could ignore the jokes, but their egos won't let them. The more they flail, the funnier it gets. This is the power of late-night satire. It exposes the absurdity of those who can't see it in themselves. Trump may call it fake comedy, but deep down he knows the jokes are true. The real question isn't if he'll strike back, but how ridiculously his responses will be. An all-caps meltdown on Truth Social at 3 a.m.?
Jimmy Kimmel would meet me before the election. I'm telling you, true story. I don't even think you'd deny it. No talent, but I'd go to a studio to do a shot, to do a thing. He would stand outside on the sidewalk waiting for me. Oh, here he comes, Donald Trump. Oh, he opens my door. I said, does he do this to everybody, to his people? He does it for nobody.
Right. Including you, I do it for nobody because that never happened.
Trump has threatened to sue everyone from the New York Times to a parody cow account, so suing Kimmel isn't far-fetched. He might claim defamation, election interference, or accuse Kimmel of being part of the deep state. His lawyers will roll their eyes either way. It's not a lawsuit. An unhinged rally response is almost guaranteed. Picture Trump pacing the stage shouting, "Kimmel, Kimmel," and bits. I call him a failing comedian. Nobody watches. He'll probably blame Kimmel's jokes on Biden, Obama, or even the ghost of John McCain and make it weirdly personal.
Not only is Governor Walz here for an interview, he showed up 2 hours early to rake all the leaves off our porch. So, think Donald Trump ever handled a rake? Not even in a sand trap. Not even there. Yesterday, Trump took a break from, again, bragging about how he likes to stiff workers out of overtime to launch his, maybe 15th attack on me for making fun of him at the Oscars. Out of nowhere, again, he wrote, "Remember this?" and went through the whole, yeah, we do remember it. And you know why I remember it? You keep bringing it up.
The feud between Trump and late-night hosts isn't a fight anymore. Trump's just giving comedians endless material. Kimmel, Colbert, and others roll the clips and add punchlines. Humor is a powerful weapon. Trump can dodge facts, but he can't handle being laughed at. Will he strike back? Sure, but it won't help. He's only setting up more jokes, and Kimmel's ready.
Matthew Reed. Matthew, welcome to the show. Matthew, what can you tell us about Trump wanting to shut down the Department of Education?
Well, it's not that complicated, Jimmy. We don't need the Board of Education. I mean, come on. This isn't rock science.
You mean rocket science?
Pretty sure the term is rock science. Like the study of rocks, geography. Ever heard of it?
Yeah, of course. Well, a lot of teachers are worried about imminent layoffs. I mean, what do you have to say about that?
No one likes getting laid off. I get that. But it's like the old saying goes, when one window when one door you open a door and the window will open the door for you.
I think you're trying to say when one door closes, another one opens.
Sure. Look, this will save the government a lot of money, Jimmy.
Well, how much are we talking about here?
Millions, if not thousands of dollars.
$1 million is more than 1,000, Matthew.
You're thinking of a cajillion, Jimmy. But my point is, if you live in the United States of America, you know that this is what our founding fathers would have wanted. I'm talking Washington, Jefferson, Kardashian.
No, hey, no, those aren't founding fathers, and it's the United States, not estates.
Tomato, potato. Oh, sorry. My Uber's here.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to see if my phone is cake?
On the Matthew Reed's Corrector Education commentary, the satire of Trump's administration officials struggling with basic knowledge hits close to home as public continues to evaluate the qualifications of his appointees to manage complex government departments.